Hi everyone, welcome to the Whiteleyverse with me, Connor Whiteley, for another daily short story. Now, before I start today's story, please remember to like, comment and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new content, and the engagement really helps the Whiteleyverse with the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you want to buy this short story and any of my other fiction, then they're available from all major ebook retailers and at your local bookstore and local library if you requested, and you can order paperback copies from Amazon. Now, here's today's short story. I hope you enjoyed just as much as I did writing it.
Driving home for love. Adam Odell was driving along a rather wonderful stretch of an English 3-lane motorway, if such a thing was possible, plenty of snow-covered pine trees lining the motorway, and thankfully no other driver was on the road. He liked that on Christmas Day because it meant that everyone was safely with their families, laughing and enjoying themselves. Adam did like the delightful smell of the damp pine that filled the car as he drove down the motorway, and the trees outside were giving off their wonderful scents. And strangely enough, it reminded him of great family holidays in the breathtaking forests of Sweden as a child, and those famous meaty, juicy Swedish meatballs that Adam absolutely loved. But with large snowflakes starting to rain down on the motorway, Adam was seriously starting to wish he had listened to his parents' advice of driving up to their Christmas Eve so he could spend the night with them and his siblings. Adam hated it when they were right. Adam had plenty of presents, cards and decorations that he had picked up on his travels around the wonderful Christmas markets of mainland Europe. Adam loved each and one of them because, unlike the cold commercial ones of the UK, the real European ones had such amazing character, personality, and Christmas spirit that had seemed to die out long ago here. Or maybe that was just Adam. He had wanted to bring a guy back to his loving family for Christmas for years now, and he was so sure he was going to get a guy this year. That never happened, and now Adam was driving back alone in the freezing cold. He knew that his loving family wouldn't mind, but he didn't want yet another year of being surrounded by his mom, dad, and his siblings, each with their own amazing partner and lover. Adam wanted to be included. He wanted to love, celebrate, and be with someone at this special time of year. Adam wanted to bring someone back for Christmas more than anything else in the world. His breath started to condense in front of his eyes as he kept driving down the motorway, and visibility was dropping. Adam just wanted to get to his parents' house over 60 miles away, hug his family, and hear about their latest jobs, travels, and other adventures. That was something he really loved about his family. Even though they all had so-called mundane jobs, everyone in his family always had a story to tell, and Adam was seriously looking forward to telling them his story about traveling through mainland Europe in his car and getting lost plenty of times on the way. Most people in the UK probably wouldn't find that very fun at all, but Adam loved that his family would. They would all probably laugh, joke, and compare it to the stories that the others had. Adam really wanted to win their unofficial competition about who had the best story for Christmas. Adam didn't know what the others were doing or how good their stories were, but he just hoped his travels were great enough. The sound of hail gently tapping on his car made Adam roll his eyes at the bad weather. This was the last thing he needed. He just needed the weather to behave for a little while longer, and then the weather could do whatever it wanted. Being snowed in at his parents' house with his siblings would hardly be a bad thing until the new year, but Adam had to get there first. At this point, normal people might have made the pedal hit the floor, but Adam was definitely not that dangerous. He was going to keep driving safely, no matter what. Smoke poured out of his engine. Adam's eyes widened. He quickly pulled over on the hard shoulder, grabbed his phone, and got out of his car. Adam opened up the bonnet and hissed as tons of steam, smoke, and liquid poured out of the engine. "Damn," Adam muttered. He seriously didn't need this. He just wanted to be with family on this most special of days, but oh no, the world had other plans for him. He just didn't know in what delightful ways yet. Mechanic Arthur Smith absolutely hated working on Christmas Day. In fact, he slightly hated the entire Christmas season, His family had disowned him at the age of 21, he had no boyfriend, and a very shitty job that he wasn't too keen on. Arthur had wanted to join the Royal Navy the second he turned 18, but they took one look at him, realized he was gay, and they made up tons of excuses why he couldn't be enrolled. They're lost. Arthur drove down a massive, horrible stretch of motorway, with foul pine trees lining it, and the disgusting smell of damp pine filled his van as he drove. Arthur didn't want to have to smell that rubbish, he wanted to smell the amazing scents of a man, but that was clearly never going to happen. As much as Arthur just wanted to enjoy Christmas with some friends, maybe a boyfriend if he could get one, and relax. He hated the reality of his life, and that those desires or dreams were just never going to happen. Especially as he was stuck in a job that made him work antisocial hours, and it made him work Christmas Day. And as for the people who dared to drive on Christmas Day, they were just stupid. Everyone should travel up to their parents, friends, or wherever they're going before the big day. It was just silly to drive on Christmas Day. Arthur was going to tell the idiot he was driving to see now. The idiot must have seen the bad weather warning on the forecast recently, but this idiot was probably just arrogant enough that he thought he could win against the weather. Idiot. As Arthur kept driving with the snowflakes getting larger and larger, he couldn't believe how bad this was, and he wasn't sure how he was going to do this job. He doubted he was going to be able to see the engine, the car, and the person. So he might just have to wait until the weather cleared up. Mainly because it was too risky to call in a flatbed lorry to take the car away, and it didn't help that none of its drivers were on shift. After a few more moments of driving, Arthur noticed a large orange light in the distance, and he rolled his eyes as he had finally arrived at his job. He pulled over in the hard shoulder and shook his head even more at all the smoke, steam, and liquid that was coming off the car. Most people driving past, of which there were none, probably would have imagined it was the snow or hail or something. Yet Arthur knew the damage was bad, and he would probably need to fix the engine with equipment back at the mechanic shop. He really didn't want that. Arthur put on his gloves, thick coat, and hat before he climbed out of his van and went towards the little car. That was another stupid thing about this idiot. A little car like this was never going to be able to survive in these conditions. But Arthur couldn't see the driver. He thankfully didn't see anyone outside the car, so Arthur went over to the passenger side of the car, tapped on a window, and a click happened. Arthur took that as a sign he should get in. He did. Arthur got in the small car and was about to yell and give the idiot driver a piece of his mind when he actually looked at the amazing man next to him. There was just something so handsome, alluring, and seductive about the man's smooth young face, well-styled young hair, and hot-as-hell overcoat. Arthur hadn't realized until now, but he really had a thing for men in overcoats, or maybe it was just this man. Within moments, he felt like he was a schoolboy again, unsure of how to act, talk, or look in front of such a stunning man. Should he extend his hand, hug the man, or just be nice? Be nice. You from the recovery people? The hot blonde man asked. Arthur forced his head to move, but he didn't want to lose sight of the hot man. And even with the biting chill of the air outside seeping into the car, Arthur struggled to hide how hot he was inside. He feared he might actually start sweating. Yeah. I'm Arthur, he said. The hot man smiled and turned away from Arthur. He didn't know how to take that, but he was here to do a job first and foremost. Adam, the hot man said. Adam was a very hot name. Arthur really wanted to talk more and learn more about this stunningly hot man, but he at least needed to pretend to work. Let's see what the problem is, Arthur said, gesturing they should get out of the car. And Arthur so badly wanted to add, if Adam got cold. The two of them could easily warm up in his van. After meeting such an outrageous, gorgeous guy, Adam had no clue what to do with himself. He had had to look away from the guy in the car just so he didn't make a weird sound, kiss him, or just do anything to embarrass himself. Adam had been waiting so long in his car when the gorgeous guy turned up that he didn't know what to do with himself. He just loved Arthur's slight beard, manly-looking working clothes, and his young handsome face. There was something so youthful about him, but it was like he had so much experience too. He might also be into traveling. Adam would seriously love that. He would love a wonderfully hot guy to travel with, work with, and get to spend Christmas with him. As the two men stood in front of the smoking, steaming, and spitting engine, Adam had no idea what he was looking at. All he knew about engines was it was what powered the car to move him from A to B. That was it. But the amazing thing was, Arthur looked like he was inspecting some sort of grand masterpiece and feat of engineering. His eyes were so focused on each part of the engine and car that Adam couldn't even begin to understand what he was so interested in. Thankfully, the biting cold, howling wind, and the snow had stopped enough that Arthur was able to examine the car properly. Adam started shivering more and more as he just stood there whilst Arthur did whatever he was doing. His teeth were chattering, and he just wanted to do something to keep himself warm. Arthur stood up and looked at Adam. His face twisted into some kind of fear, and as much as Adam just wanted his concern to be about his safety, he sadly knew Arthur was being professional. Sadly, Arthur wrapped a massively strong arm round Adam's shoulders, and Adam failed to keep his wayward parts of getting excited. Adam flat out loved the wonderful chemistry, power, and electricity that flowed between them. "You can wait in my van if you want. It's perfectly warm," Arthur said. Adam wanted to stay out here and look at Arthur's amazing ass as he bent over to work on his car, but he was cold. And his mother would kill him if he turned up ill or something. Adam slowly nodded, and Arthur guided him over to his van and placed Adam on the front seat. What really surprised Adam was how sad Arthur looked as he shut the door and went back over to work on his car. And Adam felt the same. He might have just met Arthur 20 minutes ago, but he felt almost connected to him in some strange way. Adam moved his knees and accidentally opened the glove compartment, and seriously smiled as plenty of small travel leaflets fell out. This insanely hot guy was also into traveling, adventures, and having fun. Now Adam was really looking forward to when he came back. Arthur couldn't understand why he was finding this particular job so tortuous and hard. Normally he loved all mechanical jobs and working on cars, but this one felt strange. It did not feel boring per se, but the job didn't feel as exciting as it normally did when Arthur finished up a car. He had tapped, hammered, and replaced some of the pieces of the engine, and fixed a bunch of stuff that should have been picked up in an MOT. But the car would soon be all perfectly fixed up. Arthur just needed to refill the engine's oil, coolant, and power steering, as he had needed to drain it earlier in order to fix the car. That had been thankfully a clean job compared to normal. Arthur felt his stomach fill with butterflies as he went back over to his van and saw Adam doing something, or at least looking at something. He opened the side door of the van, climbed in, and went to find the liquid he needed. "You like travel?" Adam asked. Arthur shrugged, knowing he had found his travel leaflets. "Yeah. Me and my family used to go twice a year to different places. My family could always find a great deal and go there cheap," Arthur said. "Definitely. My parents are the same. Are you going there today?" Arthur went silent. He didn't want to explain this beautiful, sexy man how his parents had abandoned him and kicked him out a few years ago to this day. "Oh," Adam said. "I'm sorry." Arthur shrugged again. "It's in the past. What are your parents like?" "They're great. Me and my siblings always get together at Christmas, no matter where we are in the world." Arthur looked at him and so badly wanted to kiss this sexy man as he saw Adam's face resting on his seats and his blonde hair lightly falling over his eyes. Damn, this guy was cute. "You sound like a traveled family," Arthur forced out. He was too focused on Adam's beauty. "Yes. I tend to work in mainland Europe a lot. My sisters work in Japan, Australia, and New Zealand, and my brother works in America." Arthur flat out didn't know what to say. How the hell could he compete with his family? Adam and the rest of his family clearly had some kind of amazing jobs. How was a mere lonely mechanic meant to fit in with all that? He probably wasn't. "Do you have any Christmas plans?" Adam asked seductively. Arthur didn't dare look at Adam as he asked that. He didn't want to be completely disarmed of his logic by his beauty. Arthur shook his head. "Then you need to come back to ours. Hear the story of our travels, and I want to hear more about you," Adam asked. Arthur didn't know what to say. He panicked, grabbed the liquid he needed, and ran out of the van. Adam's heart felt like a solid rock inside him as he watched Arthur hurry back over to his car and start to fill it. All Adam had wanted was to spend a day and hopefully longer with this hot, beautiful guy that made him feel hot, sweaty, and ever so young again. Maybe he was too forceful, maybe he was too pushy, maybe Arthur wasn't interested in him whatsoever. Adam had been so sure about Arthur, and they both felt about each other. But it wouldn't have been the first time he had been so wrong about a beautiful guy. Maybe this was all just some kind of marketing tactic that the recovery people use to make him feel relaxed and happy with the service. That was probably it. At this rate, Adam didn't know if he wanted to go to his parents anymore. Seeing his mom and dad deeply in love, after 30 years of marriage, and then seeing his siblings and their partners would just be some kind of evil torture. And Adam would certainly be jealous of all of their success in the love department, whilst Adam had been a complete failure. Maybe this was going to be the great story he was going to tell his family in some pathetic effort to win the unofficial competition. The story of how he had met, loved, and been abandoned by an insanely hot guy. Well, it was true at the very least. The smell of damp pine seemed so cold and distant now, like even the weather was admitting he was a lost cause. So all Adam wanted to do was leave this awful motorway, force himself to drive to his parents, and just fall on the sofa. Or maybe drink the day away, so he could forget about how he forced a hot guy to run away from him. A few moments later, someone pounded on the van window, and Adam was surprised to see Arthur smiling at him. Adam opened the door, and loved the feeling of Arthur's body warmth pressing against him as Arthur moved closer. "I'm sorry I ran away. I was just unsure. No one has ever offered that to me before," he said. Adam still wasn't impressed. "Any chance your parents have room for one more?" Arthur asked, placing his gloved hands on Adam's. As Adam felt the love and warmth pulsing through them both, Adam couldn't stay mad at Arthur, and he somehow just knew that Arthur meant it. He truly did want to spend the day with him, his parents, and his siblings. Maybe it could be the start of something magical, wonderful, and something that lasts until death did them part. Adam would love that, and he knew Arthur would too. Adam didn't answer Arthur with words. He kissed the beautiful, sexy man in front of him, and felt the raw power of their budding love explode between them. Arthur gave Adam such a schoolboy smile, and passed him his keys. Adam popped out of the van, and Arthur wrapped his strong arms round him for another kiss. "Follow me," Adam said playfully. "Always," Arthur said, biting his lip. As Adam went over to his car and started to drive away, and saw Arthur was following him, he knew that he was definitely going to tell this story to the rest of his family. Not because it was a story of meeting, falling in love, and being abandoned by an insanely hot guy, but because it was a great story of driving home for love.
Welcome back everyone, it's me again, Connor Whiteley. So I really hope that you enjoyed today's story, because I flat out love writing, creating stories and sharing them with you. If you really enjoyed today's story, then please remember to like, comment and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new content, and the engagement really helps the Whiteleyverse with the YouTube algorithms. And if you want to buy this short story or any of my other fiction, then they're available from all major ebook retailers, and you can get them from your local library if you requested, and you can order the paperback copies from Amazon, your local bookstore or local library if you request it. Lastly, if you want to support the channel on a one-off basis, then you can now buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/ConnorWhite. Also, if you know anyone who would enjoy today's story, then please share it with them. I'm always really grateful when you wonderful people help spread the word about the channel. So, thanks for watching the Wiley Verse, and I'll see you again soon. Have a great day, everyone.